like really niche and small, is all of a sudden getting $20 million in funding. Right? That's the trend. And by the way, to create a trend, you don't need 20 instances or 50 instances or 100 instances. Does anyone know how many instances of something you need to have a trend? There's an actual number, an exact number.
7.
2, 7.
4. 3.
3. I'm going to go with 3. Here's why I go with 3. Because 1 instance is a fluke. 2 instances is a coincidence. 3, now that's a trend, right? So you only need to find, if your company is 1 and you can find 2 other examples of maybe non-competitors because you don't want to promote them, but they're kind of doing something related, congratulations, you've just found a trend. Okay, we create trends all the time. Finally, personal interest. Personal interest deals with any kind of news related to a lot of how-to topics. It could be an interesting story about the founders. We have one I'll show you later called, we have code words for we call it the story codes in our company. We have one called Model Geek, which is for a model turned geek that we create as a personal interest story. So these are 4 types of news, and you can think about all these to get the TV coverage you want. Here's the example I was talking about. A client called Styleend. Some of you may know her. She's local here, Lona. What we actually pitched for this was she had been previously like a working model, went down runways for Versace, was a Wilhelmina agency model, and now she's given up all that for startup life and ramen noodles and all of that. So that was our pitch, Model Geek. This is actually on Good Morning America, covering it for 3 minutes. That kind of personal interest was the type of news this was. Okay, this is another one. Another client of ours. You can see it's for Good Day Sacramento. Find the perfect spot for Valentine's Day. So this is actually the actual reporter is going around in advance of Valentine's Day, demoing their app, which helps give you restaurant and bar recommendations, and actually going around trying to walk down the streets and find a spot to take her boyfriend for Valentine's Day. So that's an example of a seasonal news pig, right? Because we're pitching that on Valentine's Day. You can start to see how the TV coverage is generated. Okay? Law number 4. Personalize and localize at massive scale. Let me show you how this works. This is a campaign we did for the Yuppie Price Index. How many people here are yuppies? Raise your hand. Okay, that's nothing to be worried about. Okay, you can raise your hand. You can be proud of that. I'm a yuppie. So what we did for this company, Locality, was because we wanted to showcase their local pricing data that they can use through their service, where you can for instance look up, if you want to get a haircut somewhere in Soma, after 7 p.m. for under $50, you can actually use their system to do this. We wanted something that showcased all their data that they have. So we created a basket of goods that yuppies consume in a year. So what do yuppies consume? They consume manicures, pedicures, massages, gym memberships, haircuts. We just created, we kind of guessed at how many does a yuppie consume in a year? And then we went out and we compared all these cities. And so every single pitch we did for San Francisco was different than Raleigh, North Carolina, was different than Detroit. And the headline changed in every single one to feature the local city. So we're localizing and personalizing at massive scale. And by the way, the most expensive city for yuppies in the US is actually
San Francisco.
San Francisco, yes. So here's how this works in terms of TV. NBC, Bay Area, ran a segment. San Francisco is the country's most expensive city for yuppies. Okay, we're getting TV coverage there because we've created news, made something newsworthy, and we've localized it and personalized it for the area. Super important to local TV. This is Tampa. Okay, we had a totally different pitch for Tampa. Tampa is the 4th most affordable city for yuppies. So we pitched that as Tampa ranked number 4 most affordable city for yuppies. So this is a popular show, The List in Tampa, as you can see here, home of the yuppies. They're featuring it. And watch, if you do this right, this is the mayor, Bob Buckhorn, of Tampa. He did his own media tour in Tampa to celebrate the fact that Tampa is affordable for yuppies. So now we have the mayor going around promoting our service, saying, come to Tampa, yuppies, we want you. It's cheap here, right? And that's how you leverage and create this kind of like snowball effect, the power of TV as well, right? Now we have the mayor of the city as our spokesperson. And you can see what happens here with local stories. This is one out of several dozen local anchors or reporters around the country that tweeted our story out. So you can see here, this is Jenna Deary. She has 2,200 followers, and she's a local celebrity in Charlotte, North Carolina, because she's a reporter. And this is her tweet. Charlotte ranked 12th hardest working. Oh, I forgot. We did after this. The Yuppie Price Index was so successful. We did a next story was America's hardest working cities. We compared which cities are open the most hours. So here she's tweeting, Charlotte ranked 12th hardest working city out of 50 by locality.com. Yay, we're being mentioned. Beaten by Omaha. New York City ranked number 1. Tulsa, Oklahoma ranked 50. Okay? This happened, reporters and anchors all across the country because we gave them localized, personalized information. And that leverages the power of TV. So they all ran TV segments on this. And then they went to social media. So your TV done right can fuel your social media as well. Law number 5. Think smaller to become a thought leader. So who here has something that is, maybe you have a business-to-business product. We want to get you on TV. Who has a business-to-business kind of product or service? Okay, so how can you get on TV for that, right? You can't probably do the dating survey. If it's business-to-business, maybe. But let's talk about becoming a thought leader, because you can do that as well. So our rule is we have the rule of 3 for thought leadership. And that is find 3 niche topics of your expertise. What everyone tries to do, that's a problem, is they try to become a big thought leader on a big topic. So they're like, I want to be a thought leader on social media. Okay? Well, there's a lot of competition for that. It takes time. But if you drill down and say, I want to be a thought leader for real estate agents using social media, I bet there's not too much competition for that. I mean, maybe there's someone. You can go claim that right away because no one thought of it. Right? So if you start thinking smaller and finding niche topics of your expertise, you can go claim that right away. And then if you make that timely for the news, remember we talked about breaking news, seasonal news, trend news, personal interest news. If you relate it to that, then all of a sudden you can be featured on TV as a thought leader, even if you have a business-to-business product. Here's an example of a pitch we did, another spin on locality. This is on Fox News. And actually the pitch for this was we made him a thought leader on how any small business can get online in just 1 weekend. So we were actually making him a thought leader for small businesses who have a limited amount of time. We went and claimed that space right away. It was very focused. Lots of people trying to help businesses get online, but not small businesses who only have 1 weekend. That's all you have. We created that expertise on getting online super fast. He's a thought leader in that. Covered, all of a sudden he's featured on Fox News. Okay, that's how that works for TV. Law number 6. Measure the magnitude and speed of media response. This gets into metrics that we use in PR hacking to help us discover what stories are more viral, what stories are more suitable for TV and for all of media. It turns out you can test this. So, let me ask you this. Maybe I'll ask you to vote. I have 2 options for, we have a client who has an app that makes your smartphone smarter. Basically, it detects things you're automatically doing and tries to help you out. Right? It detects that if you drove over here today, that you were driving in your car and you parked your car and it dropped a pin without you asking it so you can remember where you parked. Stuff like that. So, one of the features we wanted to talk about was it can actually read your text messages out loud to you when you're driving. It just knows you're driving, it can detect that, and it reads them out loud. So, we have 2 possible options for our pitch, headlines. Option A, 5 simple ways to finally stop texting and driving. Option B, how to convince your kids never to text and drive again. Okay? We can test this. We can see what's more effective. Who votes for option A? Raise your hand. Okay? Hands up. Maybe, I don't know, about half. 5 simple ways to finally stop text driving. Who votes for option B? I'd say a few more people. I mean, maybe a little bit more than half. Okay? I think probably overall you'd say option B, but it's a little bit of debate. So the actual results, when we actually test this, option B converts 3 to 4 times higher in terms of media coverage. What is our theory on it? Our theory is that lots of people have bad habits themselves. Kind of like, who here, has anyone here never texted and driven before? Really?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's impressive. That's impressive. Okay. Very good. So some people are like, okay, most people probably have. And at least some people in this room are not being honest. But that's okay. That's okay. Just once is all I said. Just once. But our theory here is that even though lots of people have bad habits themselves, the thought of their 16 or 17-year-old son or daughter who has very little experience behind the wheel, texting and driving, is horrifying. And so all of a sudden that's a more emotional story. Once we made the conversion from option A to option B, this took off on TV all over the country. In fact, there's a TV station now running a petition drive to get teens to sign a pledge not to text and drive, based on our pitch. Sheriff departments around the country have now endorsed the app as a safety tool because we made that shift to focusing on their kids instead of just texting and driving in general. Okay? And this is, by the way, this is the creator of Agent, Kulveer, who is actually going on and doing a TV interview about this. And the list has local shows in certain cities, but it's also broadcast regionally, so you can get on lots of TV shows at once in different cities. And I want you to notice something about this. This has changed in the past 5 years. He is doing a Skype interview to do this. And what used to happen 5+ years ago when I got my start in this is if I wanted to do a satellite TV tour, I would fly to New York, I would rent a studio, and they'd have a satellite connection, and I'd have to get all my TV interviews in a 3-hour window, because that's all I could afford to pay for it. And I'd do it all in one morning. We'd set them up. Most of the interviews would be taped. And it would cost $20,000 to $25,000 to do that whole satellite for that 3-hour window in the morning. And it was still worth it, even at that price. What has changed is in the past 5 years, the majority of TV stations and shows, not all, but the majority, will actually do Skype interviews now. It's accepted. So this has enabled all of you to actually do TV tours around the country without even leaving San Francisco, just from a really good Skype connection. Okay, so kind of Skype has been a game changer in terms of all the TV access you have, and I think most startups and probably, I would say probably most PR people at this point haven't really realized yet. Of course, there's a lot of maybe a lot of you who are PR pros who are here know this already and leverage this, but you can leverage Skype to do a heck of a lot at very low cost. Okay, law number 7: test, optimize, and pivot your pitch. Test, optimize, and pivot your pitch. We talked a little bit about the testing of it, but let's take it one step further. The words you choose, how you frame your product, not just the pitch, but how you frame your product really, really matters. And you can test it with the media. And here's why this is great for, how many of you know what I say when I say product market fit? Who here knows what that means? Product market fit. Okay. How many of you are still searching for product market fit? Probably most of us, right? I mean, unless you're already, like the founder of, unless Mark Zuckerberg is here, you have product market fit, don't worry about it. Most of us are still searching for product market fit.
He's still searching.
You're still searching, right? You maybe have some, but how is that super scalable market fit? Let me show you how you can use the media and you can use pitching TV to find your product market fit if you don't totally know yet, okay? So this is an example of a bag that charges up your devices and while it's in your back. Kind of high tech, they were doing a crowdfunding campaign, came to us to help with the campaign. So we were trying to figure out how to frame this particular product. Here are some testing we did of email subject lines pitching the product, but this is even beyond a pitch. This is like just how do we describe the product. And here's what's great about pitching TV and pitching media. They are experts at getting ratings. Their whole job is to build an audience. So if you can pitch them and get them interested, they're a really good proxy for big markets, right? If you can find product market fit with the TV producers and the other media gatekeepers, editors, it's a great proxy for finding product market fit with your actual customers. So we had all these different ways to describe it. We had Kickstarter bag powers your devices, 3-in-1 bag for tech superstars. We're going to kind of have a tech focus on this. Kickstarter campaign is in the bag. Revolutionary bag hits Kickstarter. Lots of different versions. Here, let me show you what works. Here was our winning headline when we tested this. World's first smart bag. Parentheses, never lose your laptop again. So we did two things. One, in our testing, calling it the world's first smart bag had power, right? The idea was we were starting to position this as lots of stuff in your life is smart, your phone, your laptop, but most of the stuff you deal with is dumb. Your bag is usually dumb. But now it's finally smart. Now, truthfully, were there other bags that can kind of do some of these features? Yes, but not in the same way that Force could, so that's why we called it a world's first. And then what we did was we added some kind of thing it could do, a feature in there, that was surprising, that would get someone to notice. We said, never lose your laptop again. Really? How is the bag doing that? I'm curious. And actually one of the features was it could push notify you if you go out of the radius of your bag. And then say, hey, did you forget it at the coffee store, so at the coffee shop, right? So I want to see the effect on TV. And TV has a really broader definition now. It's not just broadcast TV. I mean, this is actually Ask Men, which has their own little TV channel, which is super popular for men. It's one of the most popular men's websites in the US. And they actually ran this whole segment focusing on the Force Smart Bag. And again, they're calling, see the headline, Force Smart Bag. They're using our language. They're using our characterization. So what I want to say is, as you pitch TV, this is more just about getting a TV spot. This is about how you frame your product, how you find the right way to explain your product that finds product market fit, and pitching TV and media is a great way to do that. Okay, and by the way, this is the Kickstarter results for Force. Raised about $200,000, even though it was a $300 to $400 bag. So very pricey, which if anyone who's done crowdfunding knows, that's probably almost too expensive to do as a crowdfunding project, because crowdfunding projects are like kind of impulse buys. Even despite that, because we got so much TV and mass media coverage, we still raised $200,000. And final point on this, if you don't measure, you can't optimize. So what typically was the realm of advertising, right? A/B testing ads, knowing the conversion rate. You can actually do this for PR. So what I recommend doing in your TV pitching or radio pitching or magazine pitching or newspaper pitching or online pitching, try a small sample. For us, a small sample is 100 media outlets. We pitch them first. We measure the conversion rate, how many media out of that 100 are interested, and we measure the speed of conversion. What that means is if they're interested in 2 hours instead of 2 days, that's a stronger story. And then we use that information to optimize and improve our pitch. So you got to be able to measure. Law number 8, time your delivery to increase the odds. I'll call this segment How to Hack CNN. Okay? I'm going to show you how we did it. So, question is, who should you pitch? This is like one of the first times I had been on CNN. And there's a morning show, and these are the 2 morning anchors. And supposed to, just as sort of just lingo for this, you're supposed to pitch the TV producers. Sometimes really big shows have what are called booking contacts. But also you can just go to producers. So there's 15 plus for this morning show at CNN. We pitched all of those. But we also did something that and actually I should say we pitched entirely through email. And at the time, we had no relationships. Since then, I've been on I have a lot of relationships, but at the time, 0 relationships, purely an email address. That's all I have. We pitched entirely through email, but we did a lot of personalization. So we personalized bulk email, but we adapted it to the show's name. This is always our strategy. We adapted it to little things we knew about each producer. We did all of that. But the other thing we did was we actually pitched, and I say we, I guess this is really early on, so it really is the royal we at this time. It was basically me. Pitched the 2 anchors. Why? They're exactly the wrong people to pitch. If you ever watched Ron Burgundy, right? He's not the guy deciding who's on the show, right? But we pitched them. And the reason is because what's more powerful? A pitch coming from me, someone they don't know, or a pitch forwarded by the $1 million talent saying, check this out. What's likely to be read more? So we pitched the anchors. Here's what's happened. We pitched the morning show hosts, and this is where I timed the email to go out at 4:35 a.m. I wasn't up then, but I scheduled it. Why? Anyone know? Why would I want to pitch it at 4:35 a.m.? Yeah.
They're up out of the way.
They're out of the way. They're morning show hosts. They go on the air at 5. What are they doing at 4:35? They're doing 2 things. They're eating a breakfast pastry, and they're checking their email. Maybe they're also getting their makeup done. Let's go on the air. So, pitched it at 4:35. I received a response from John Roberts at 4:37, 2 minutes later. This was his exact quote, let's do it, forwarding to my producers. Within 20 minutes, I had an email from his producer saying, John wants to have you on the show. Are you free Thursday? I was on CNN 2 days later. And John, by the way, did not even interview me because he was busy that day, couldn't do the interview, so a different anchor did the interview. Okay?
What was the story?
This is a story about college costs rising, but there is hope. Make it easy for media outlets to say yes. And these are people who work on deadlines. You got to pitch them not only the right story, you have to pitch them the right story at the right time. And if you pitch them a great story, but they're like, I got 15 minutes before I'm going on air, and it's breaking news about the missing airplane, and I don't have time to deal with it, they're just not going to deal with it. It could be a great story, they'll never respond to you. Right? So you got to pitch it at the right time. Brings us to law number 9. Embed easy traction steps. Embed easy traction steps. What this means is it's not enough just to get the TV placement, the TV hit. How does it translate into whatever your business metric is? So some of you hear that business metric. Who here wants more users? Okay. Who here wants more downloads? Installs? Who here wants more sales, maybe? Let's make a little money. Okay, these are your metrics. So how do you connect that TV appearance? And so the whole point of this is that it's not enough just to get on the show. It's getting on the show and shaping the appearance in the right way to create traction for you. That's why we call them traction steps. This is me on CNN, on that segment. Traction steps create a natural flow from media coverage, from TV coverage to your product. You can't control the call to action, but you can make it easy to include. There are 2 traction steps in this screenshot here. Can anyone raise your hand if you can identify one of those traction steps? Yeah?
Your domain is right there.
Okay, my website address. Publisher, cityofcollegedreams.org, my website address at the time. Now, that is unique because you may think that is a web address, but that is actually not a web address. Because you can't post web addresses on CNN. What is that? Sure looks like a web address. Someone can probably type it in your browser or they go to my web page. That's actually my job title, is what that is. So when you go on TV, you can choose. They ask you, what's your byline? What's your title? I could have been scholarship expert. That's what they suggested. I could have been author of How to Go to College Almost for Free. But I chose publisher, cityofcollegedreams.org. Right? So that's a traction step. It gives people a place to go. There's a second one. Anyone see the second one?
Your name?
It's a little bit, well, my name, I guess, that would kind of like, maybe that's kind of one, because someone could search for me. That's not bad. Now, we usually get a name. There's something here.
At the bottom, yeah.
It's at the bottom. It's kind of hard to see. Cody, you know this.
Yeah.
I know you know this. I don't know if you can read there. It says, get college financial aid tips from Ben, and it's actually scrolling. And what it says on CNN's blog. So as soon as we got the TV hit, I said, hey, is there a web editor I can talk to? I'd be glad to do a blog for the website, blog post. And they said, sure. They put me in touch with the website editor, and I got that blog post. And here's what the blog post looks like. College costs reached record high, but there was hope. Now, who here knows anything about SEO, search engine optimization? Who here thinks it would be good to have a link from CNN.com to your website? It's like a top 50 web property in the world, right? They are linking over here. They're linking to my site. The product I was selling, Scholarship Super Camp, is actually a link. And this was all supplied by me directly to them. So you take that TV hit, and now TV stations have blogs, Twitter accounts, lots of other things. For our clients, like one of my clients, just a kind of a financial planning company in Indiana, as soon as we got him on TV, we pitched to him for their website, and he became a regular blogger on the TV station's website. They liked his blog so much they kept doing it. And now 90% of his business is all from the blog on their TV station coming through, creating that sales funnel. So once you get the TV hit, leverage that. Leverage that for more. And it has great SEO value too. And that's one of the things people don't realize is that TV stations, but also local magazines, newspapers, radio, they're often the most popular websites in that metropolitan area. So it's great Google juice if they link over to you in terms of search engine optimization.